say this thing that some of us are birthed in pain, right? Not everybody is birthed in pain. You know, some people are birthed to a, normal mom and dad, and, everything's perfect. And here I was birthed in pain to a, alcoholic dad, full-blown alcoholic dad, codependent mom, and sold drugs out of the house. So for me, growing up, that was normal. That was a normal lifestyle. Looking back on it, I have an older brother who's 5 years older than me, so we got along pretty well. And, we're raised in this alcoholic home, and, would see our parents party and drink and do drugs. And that was just a normal way of life for us.
So that and our faces are going to be see-through, skulls, fire, and guts, and one's going to have a beard and one's not, and it's going to be like a crazy skeleton with the same exact Hopeaholics all freaked out. And so we're going to do that for the front, and then Johnny's going to have a design on the back.
Am I good with this on the... Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah, so as long as you hear your voice, you're good.
I can hear my voice.
Yeah.
Sounds...
I like to touch it.
Okay.
I like to touch it.
You don't have to touch it.
I put my beard hairs on there, actually.
Nice.
That's how I know I'm close enough.
Hello.
Hello.
So, like, if you want to, you can move it. I always, like, if I talk to Shane, I might move it a little bit just so it stays.
Make sure you breathe.
Got it.
I'm joking.
Make sure you breathe.
Did you hear that guy snort yesterday?
Yeah.
That was our guest on that.
That was the guest yesterday. Yeah.
Snorted?
Yeah.
It's really bad if you snort on this thing. You
hear
I think we were live too on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Do you guys do it live?
No, just yesterday we did
on Tuesday nights we do a Zoom Recover Out Loud meeting, and we live stream it on YouTube. I could not think of the word live stream.
Yeah.
I hate that.
It's okay. You're getting old.
I know.
Yeah. We lose words. Or you're gaining other words and you're just, too much in there.
It's a beautiful setup, guys.
Isn't it nice?
And the Laker stuff just adds the icing to it.
You know what they sold on Nike, and I tried to get it for Chad? They had Gigi's shirts.
Oh.
They had a remembrance to Gigi's shirts. They had the front and they had the back, and they had it in gold and they had it in purple. And I called my buddy. I was online. Fuck, I missed it. I wanted to surprise him.
I'll tell you about those shirts over there real quick. Those are the shirts from the first game that they played after Kobe died and Gigi died.
Those jerseys right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just happened to have tickets. Well, let me go back. My family has season tickets.
Okay.
But I just had picked those two that game. And the first game was after he died was supposed to be a Clipper game, but they canceled it because everybody was too, it was too much for the Laker organization. So that was the very next game, and I had the tickets. Wow. So I was down there with the remembrance. I have pictures of me signing the wall, all the balloons, LeBron's speech. They had those shirts on every single chair. And so there's only like 17,000, 18,000 of those shirts right there. Yeah. So I framed them. We actually wore them that night, and then I framed them. And those are the tickets from the game. They don't even do tickets like that anymore. They do everything is digital now.
Everything's digital. Yep.
Yeah.
Good buddy of mine's season ticket holder. We go quite often.
Love the Lakers. Yeah, I sell them. I mean, I feel like this coming year, I'm gonna go more because the team's gonna be.
They're looking good.
The same solid team for that. I mean, even better.
I think they're better.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
You a Laker fan?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a Laker game?
No, I have not been. I've been waiting for the invite.
It'll change your life.
Well, I've been waiting. I've been only waiting 12 years. How long do we know each other? 12, 13 years? I'm due for an ask. I'm due for a date.
Yeah.
Just me and you.
I'll take you this year.
Just me and you.
The 2023-24 season.
There you go.
I'll buy the popcorn.
I actually prefer, because our seats are right by this place called something dogs.
Oh yeah.
The Haas dogs.
You know it's the new hot dog place, huh?
Dog Haas. There you go.
Dog
And
Haas.
they have
HAUS or something like
they
that.
have the best mac and cheese dogs.
Really?
Cooper puts down
mac
two
and
of those
cheese in the dog?
on top of the hot
Oh,
dog.
that's nice. I'll do it.
And they don't use, these people don't use a regular bun. They use like a Texas toast.
Nice.
Yeah. So good.
Nice. That's good.
Texas
Yeah,
toast bun.
I'm in.
All right.
I'm in.
All right. Well, Michelangelo, do you want to play back or? Oh, we're good. Me and Shane tested. You tested already?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Are we on?
Are we
We're
live?
live. Oh, I like to say, are we live? We don't really do an intro. We're not like boring.
Yeah.
We don't.
It's all good.
We
Yeah.
never wanted to be like, okay, so today we have
Mr. Joseph Mendoza in the house.
Right.
Joseph, how are you today?
we're gonna talk about addiction and mental health
Yeah.
on the family
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Right. No, I like this.
Yeah, this is nice.
I
Casual.
like this off the top. And
Off
I was
the
wondering,
top.
like, were you guys' notes or,
No.
No,
No.
we're
Spontaneous.
We're
Yeah.
a cross between Joe Rogan setup
right?
and Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Which I like both.
Yeah. Yeah, we just go
Like
with
both.
it. Yeah, we
I
have.
like-
we don't even know what we don't have. We don't even what we're going to. We don't know what you're going to talk about. We have no questions yet. We have nothing.
I like it like that.
Yeah.
And we also prefer, 'cause it's better when we don't know the guest at all, because then
Yeah.
we're like, holy shit, our
Right.
surprise face is fucking
Yeah.
real.
That's why I called you on the phone and I
Yeah.
was like, hey, I just wanted to say hi before I just pop in your door. And
Yeah.
here I am. So
Well, because my sister-in-law, who's a journalist, said, "So you have no one calling?" Because I told her the story about yesterday's fiasco, and she said, "Well, usually when they do interviews at the green room, they have someone comes out with pre-questions the guest just to make sure that they're not drunk or they're sane and they're not going to say anything out of the ordinary."
If we go live,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to do
We might.
that
We might.
part.
yeah, I don't most times when you give people questions up front, they overthink it.
Oh, that's exactly.
They overthink it.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to the question, they're so scatterbrained because they
Yeah.
had 5 responses
right.
to
Exactly.
your question.
To
So
a
no,
simple.
I'm good with just
yeah,
riffing.
Yeah, this is nice.
Freestyle.
Yeah, I like freestyle anyways, because then on top of that, we don't edit our podcast, so whatever happens here is what I believe God wants put out onto the
Amen.
onto
Yeah.
the internet.
Yeah.
You know,
Love that.
Now if there's been a couple times when somebody said something that somebody said one time, somebody was like, oops, can you please cut that out,
I don't wanna
because
get-
I don't want to get killed.
Oh man.
or
Yeah.
or if somebody like accidentally says something
Slur of some
offensive,
kind. Yeah.
Right.
if somebody says anything that's offensive to people,
Yeah.
then I'm cutting it.
So
Yeah,
I normally always speak as if my 18-year-old and my 14-year-old are watching it. So I try to keep it,
Nice.
G to
Nice.
PG-13
yeah,
ish.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we're good.
And we're bipartisan here, so we're just trying to we include everybody.
Mm,
Everybody.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the so let me just give you a quick background before and then we'll let you get started. But the reason why this podcast exists is because on September 11th of 2022, my daughter went to her fiance's house, which I had already considered my son-in-law, and she found him dead in his bed from fentanyl poisoning. That's what we like to call it now,
Yeah.
poisoning.
Right.
'Cause, I don't believe there's any safe dose of illicit fentanyl.
Right.
I think anytime you take fentanyl, you're poisoning yourself.
Any drug at this point,
Yeah.
you know.
So that was kind of my cue. I've worked in treatment for, worked and owned treatment centers for the last 20 years. And I'm just tired of this happening. It's so bad. The fentanyl crisis is so bad. And our country is so divided that they want it. I mean, if they look, I get it. They wanted to politicize COVID. I'm not going to let them. I am going to be out and I'm going to be a voice for these people that have lost their lives, and I'm going to be the voice for the families that don't have it left in them to come and speak out,
Or the platform,
or the platform,
potential, bro.
or the money, or the
Yeah,
funds.
Nothing.
You know, and like I was blessed over the last 20 years, and then all of a sudden this happened, and I'm like, damn, God is telling me to do this. you know, so I'm going after it, and I won't stop until 300 million or whatever the population of the United States is has heard my voice.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
You know,
And Chad's got a big flashlight. He's going to shine that in every dark corner.
mhm.
You know, that's the goal here.
And I've been researching, watching episodes, and you guys are doing a phenomenal
Yeah.
job. So it's a privilege just to be sitting here, you know, with you guys at the table, and you know, just talking life and really helping people
Yeah.
is what my mission has been the past 13 years. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, and that is the other part of this, man, is because, like, you know, we're going after that, but it's like we want to show people that even if you're not in recovery, just regular people, even if you're not an addict, like, we want to show people that if you put your mind to something,
right,
everything is a mindset.
Mhm.
Everything's your perception. You put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
anything.
Yeah.
We always say, you know, your mindset is yours to set. Right, we have a choice
I just
every morning.
posted that
I
the
like
other
that.
day on my story.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all I do is listen to motivational, I like Motiversity and YouTube stuff.
Love
when,
Motiversity.
when I'm
Yeah.
at the gym.
Mhm.
So I heard that. So I end up I hear stuff while I'm at the gym, and then I go make a
Right
I go
away.
make a meme real quick on my photo app, and then I post it into my story. And that was exactly what I posted. And then I said, read it again.
I love that one, that our mindset is ours to set. And then take it a step further is the mindset controls your mood set.
Yeah.
So if the mindset's right,
Totally.
the mood set
Totally.
is going to be
Yes.
amazing. So like when you said, hey, I like your energy,
Yeah.
your positivity,
Yeah.
it's a mindset thing. And then the mood is, you know,
Yes.
dictated by that.
100%.
Yeah, that's where a lot of people fall short, is because they let their feelings dictate their mindset, and you do not have to do that. You can control. You may not be able to control exactly how you feel right at this very moment, but you can control what you think. Which in the next moment, whatever you were feeling will change.
Right.
Based
Agreed.
on what you think.
Yeah. 100%.
That's why I don't put anything negative into, except for, I have to tell you, because I still think you need to keep it a little gangster sometime.
Of
So
course.
I've got to put a little Nipsey Hustle in my
There you go.
in my brain.
Some grinding all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually I went back and I've been like listening to all of his stuff, and I was like, man, he's got some good
he's got
lyrics.
Great lyrics, great stuff. Love Nipsey. I'm a big hip hop fan. So,
Me too.
You know, got to keep it gangster.
Yeah, so you got to throw
100.
some. You know, you can put all this great, you know, Jordan Peterson, just these, like, all these other leadership books that I read of all nature. It's great to fill my brain with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But still, even at the end of the day, because like you hear Jordan Peterson, he says stuff like, you need to be a monster,
Yeah.
but then you need to learn how to control that monster.
Yeah.
So I can't be just fill my mind with that stuff and end up being, for
Gotta
lack
feed the
of better
beast.
words, what do they call it? And back in my day, they called it a simp.
Yeah.
Simp.
Remember
Yeah.
that? Do you remember that
Yeah,
terminology?
Vaguely.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
That's like old school hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a firm believer, you guys, that I'm in a men's group. So we do a men's group that meets every other weekend on Zoom, fairly large. And last month's topic was habits. Like,
Yeah.
men, we need habits.
Yeah.
And the habits is really what helps me control the mindset and then ultimately the mood set. So what's my morning habit like? Every morning I get up, prayer, meditation, devotion time, non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable, because I know that time right there is going to propel me through the rest of my day for whatever life throws at me, right?
Yeah.
Just because your mindset's right doesn't mean that your day is going to be roses and dandelions,
Fuck, I
right?
should have sent mine yesterday.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about habits, right? And creating those healthy habits daily that are non-negotiables, because I know that it's going to propel me through whatever life throws at me.
Yes.
So, and then right now we're on leadership, and we're titling it Lead Your Ship.
Wow.
So if you're a husband,
I like that.
you're a father, right? We're called to do three things with our kids and our family: is to guide, to guard, and to govern. And guide is to steer in the right direction.
Yep.
Guard is protection, and govern is administration.
Yeah.
So in our household, that is my responsibility, and my duty is to guide, guard, and govern my household, my kids. So that's what we're on right now is leadership. So the big focus for me the past 2 months is habits and how can I continue to lead my ship, which is our family and our household.
That's cool.
So super cool.
That's really cool. And so that's kind of basic. We talk about stack and wins. So that's stack and wins. He's waking up, he's doing his routine. You're stacking wins to make your life pleasant or as pleasant as possible throughout your day.
You got to.
Got to.
So, and as men, as you guys know, we need each other.
Yeah.
Men need men. We need fellowship, right? We were designed and created to have that, manly bond together.
Hunt together.
So we're seeing that, grown men that are being vulnerable, honest, transparent, talking about things. And these aren't even addicts. These aren't people who are struggling, right? That are open to talk about divorces, maybe losing a child or talking about past relationships or maybe sickness or health issues, where they're coming in front of grown men where society doesn't tell us to do that.
No.
We got to be macho, right? We can't show our vulnerability. We can't be transparent. So, I just wanted to share that with you guys because you were talking about mindset, and that's kind of where I've been.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love
So this men's group that you go to on Zoom, it's not a recovery based.
Nope.
It's just a bunch of men that come together.
Bunch of men come together. We have a Facebook community group, and the whole basis of it was my boss was like, men need men. And we need men from all over the world, not just guys from down the street. So we got people from all over the world who tune in every other Saturday. And we meet for about an hour and a half. We open in prayer, close in prayer, biblical principles, and then we really go into what is the topic of the month. And this month just happens to be lead your ship.
Yeah.
But it's really talking about, just being a better leader in all areas of your life.
That is awesome. And you get worldly, because I traveled a lot when I was younger, and I considered myself worldly because I met a lot of different leaders and different heads of state or what have you. And this is bringing that into your community.
Right.
Worldly men.
Different cultures.
Different
too.
cultures. You really learn.
Not just the American culture.
Man. That's what's so awesome about that.
Different culture, different perception,
Yeah,
different teaching.
Totally.
We have guys from Italy, we have guys from South Africa, we have guys from Ghana, who are hopping on these calls. And when you talk about leadership in the States, that could be different to them.
Totally different.
You talk about habits here, their habits can be completely different.
Of course, Ghana, you're in survival instinct all the time. I mean, it's a totally different life. Yeah, man. That's cool stuff.
I mean, our worst of our bottom of the barrel people here in America have iPhones.
Yeah.
I mean,
just don't know.
I don't know how old you guys are. When I was in high school, we didn't even have iPhones yet. It was pagers still.
I'm old.
It was pagers. Run to the payphone and call your mom for a quarter. Yeah. And hopefully she doesn't yell at you and tell you to get home.
Right.
When I originally did the payphones, they were 10 cents. Then they went to 20. Then they went to a quarter.
Yeah. I learned to tap it and call for free.
Oh, really?
You guys never learned that? You would tap it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Are you
7.
sure that wasn't just a Canada?
It could have been a Canadian thing, but we used to tap it and get. And then I had a coin on a string. There's a hole in it, and we did that.
Did that work?
I don't know. I can't remember.
That sounds like old behavior right there.
It was. And then when I was younger, for the pinball machines, they were a quarter. I used to get a hammer with my brothers, and we used to hammer out nickels on the railroad tracks until they got to the size of the quarter, and then we put it in the pinball machine, and we're like, nickels work.
And it would go through probably like 4 or 5 times and spit back out until it finally caught.
You know what's funny though? You guys put in a lot of work for 15 cents.
Yeah, it was back in the day when cigarettes were
20 cents, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, this was back in the day. You're talking
20 cents.
70s, bro.
There was a shortage of quarters back in the day when I was playing video games.
Yeah.
You only got X amount.
Always a shortage of quarters.
You better make them last.
Right? You have to figure out ways. Yeah, good times.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself. We know nothing. Well, we might know more.
No, I know he got, obviously 13 years ago, his sobriety started.
Yeah.
I've gotten that much. That's about it.
Yeah.
And he's got a kid.
Cool little backstory. I have 5 kids.
5?
Got 5.
Wow.
We'll get to all 5.
Oh.
And, I always say this thing that some of us are birthed in pain, right? Not everybody is birthed in pain. Some people are birthed to a, normal mom and dad, and, everything's perfect. And here I was birthed in pain to a, alcoholic dad, full-blown alcoholic dad, codependent mom, and sold drugs out of the house. So for me, growing up, that was normal. That was a normal lifestyle. Looking back on it, I have an older brother who's 5 years older than me, so we got along pretty well. And, we're raised in this alcoholic home, and, would see our parents party and drink and do drugs. And that was just a normal way of life for us, right? So people always talk about, like, when were you exposed to it? I always say, birthed in pain.
Yeah.
We were exposed to it from day one.
Never heard that saying before.
So, I watch guys come up in the alley and parents run drugs out to the alley and growing weed plants in the backyard and, didn't know they were weed plants till I got to a certain age. Just thought they, wow, they're taking really good care of of the backyard, like what's going on here?
That's
so, yeah. So kind of, my dad was a functioning alcoholic. He worked at the same company 42 years, retired from Arrowhead Water, which is now Nestle.
Yeah.
So he was listen to this, functioning alcoholic, heavy duty diesel mechanic. How many of you guys know that probably doesn't go hand in hand well?
Not anymore.
Being a functioning alcoholic. And I would watch him and say, man, this guy's amazing. He could drink all night, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get on the freeway by 5-hour drive to Reseda in the valley to Chatsworth.
Wow.
And then back then, you guys, in the 80s, drinking and driving was normal.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
So Pops would pick up a 12-pack, and that was just for the ride home
Yeah.
to get back to Whittier,
Wow.
So to sit in traffic. And, growing up at an early age, I remember Pops teaching us how to stick shift for him, as he was drinking.
Oh,
Hey,
fuck me.
I'm going to do the clutch, but you're going to do the shift when I
Yeah.
put. So we were just like, man, this is
awesome.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
This was back when you can sit in the back of trucks
Trucks,
with no
yeah.
seatbelts,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, and Pops is hammered and, this is just normal. He's taking us to the liquor store and has tabs at 4 different liquor stores and we're getting free candy all the time. And we couldn't figure it out. Like, why is Dad not paying?
Yeah.
Not knowing that he had a tab that on every pay cycle or payday, he had to go and pay that tab. So he was paying for our candy and paying for, of course, his his beer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of the way life was. And I always fast forward to my 10th grade year. And two main things happened that year that were really game changers in our household was my grandma passed away. And Nana was like the armor bearer for my brother and I. So when I talk about her, that was safety because she knew the dynamic of the household and she was like our refuge. Yeah. So that's who we ran to. If you didn't want to be in the household, if shit got too crazy, we knew where to go and stay. So Nana was like the armor bearer, like the Virgin Mary type person. So I wasn't raised with both sets of grandparents. All 4 grandparents, alcoholism. My dad's dad struck on the freeway, killed by a drunk driver. So for my dad, started at an early age, lost his mom, alcoholism. My mom's dad, same thing. My grandma Nana tried to kill herself multiple times drinking Drano. So grandma passes, sophomore year in high school, devastated. I mean, just rocked my world because of how close I was. And she really raised my brother and I. So that was the first thing that happened. Second thing is Dad got sober. Dad got sober sophomore year in the high school, but it wasn't that Dad got sober because he wanted to get sober. Dad got sober because it was an ultimatum. So Mom's tricked him. Going to an appointment. Little did Dad know he was going into an intervention. And I'll never forget, Whittier, California, Presbyterian Hospital. That's where I was born. And here Dad's going in for intervention. He thinks he's going in just for like this medical appointment that my mom made. Doors closed behind them. We go into this room and she basically gives him an ultimatum and tells him like, hey, you're going to get sober or change your life or I'm done. And, I'm young. I'm a sophomore in high school and I'm thinking, man, parents are going to possibly be divorced. How's this going to work? How's this going to happen? My brother and I are kind of, fending for ourselves. Mom's working 2 jobs. She's working at all boys high school in Rosemead, California, and then Disneyland at nights just to make ends meet. So Mom wasn't really present. So we had to fend for ourselves. So, hey, by God's grace, Dad ends up getting sober. And I think I was sharing with you on the way over briefly, Dad celebrated 30 years.
Yeah.
March 1st of this year. So gigantic accomplishment. And, we always say it takes one to change the family. And it took my dad 30 years ago to really put that ball in motion. But he never thought that, both his sons would go on to be full-blown alcoholics. He never thought that, I would go out and get 4 DUIs, wrap my car around a telephone pole, .27, just out of control. Just spiraling out of control, getting wasted all the time in high school. My life revolved around alcohol, but I had great teachers at it. And once again, that was just the way of life for me. So I was just modeling the same behavior that was put before us growing up as a little kid because I thought that was normal. And then now you have Pops who's on the straight and narrow, and he's in AA, and he has a sponsor, and, you know, he's doing his big book stuff and really diving, you know, neck deep into that. He felt so guilty, you guys, that he did not know how to confront me.
Damn.
Because his thing is this is my fault. This is my fault. Joseph's this way because this is what I modeled for him. So Dad would never buck up against me. He would never get in my face. He would never confront me. He just kind of dealt with it from like a back seat. So Mom would try to get in there, but you know, I was so far into, you know, my addiction with drinking that no one was going to stop me. You know, senior year in high school, I played varsity baseball all 4 years in high school, played varsity basketball all 4 years in high school. I had Division I college scholarships to go play baseball. I was a pitcher. I was phenomenal. Because of my drinking, I ended up getting my son's mom pregnant senior year in high school. And I'll never forget, I never had witnessed my dad be so disappointed in a decision that I had made. So bad, and he's sober, so bad that he did not talk to me for over a month, you guys. Because what he saw was the prized possession, the star pitcher is now not going to go to college and play baseball. He now got somebody pregnant, and he has two choices to make. Are you going to go to college and pursue this dream, or are you going to stay back and raise this child of yours? So I made the decision to stay back and to raise our son. And I don't regret that decision at all, which is why when I was explaining to you earlier, I coach varsity baseball.
Yeah.
And it's funny how I didn't get the chance to go play college ball, but now I'm able to give back at the high school level, and I've coached varsity baseball 9 years now, which is amazing because now I get to live through these other kids, right? And mentor them and help them and coach them and train them, get them ready for, you know, the next level, something I didn't get to accomplish in my baseball career. So, you know, Dad was so disappointed, and I'll never forget because that hurt. I mean, that hurt bad. Just, you know, Dad didn't talk to you for a month, and, you know, I know the decision that I had made. I didn't end up staying with the girl. We ended up, you know, co-parenting, raising our son, but we're 18.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have a quick question for you.
ask.
Can you still wing on baseball?
Can I still what? Absolutely. I throw batting practice all the time.
Do you?
1,000%.
Nice.
And I love it. Assistant coach and myself, we always split up, taking alternate days on throwing batting practice.
Yeah.
I love throwing at these kids.
You know what this reminds me of? You've seen the movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner?
Of course, great
Love
movie.
that movie. How about when the kid falls off the bench and the hot dog's stuck in her throat,
Yep.
and they're looking for the doc, and the doc makes that decision right there, and he doesn't regret it. He goes back to his life, says, "No, I'm here to help people."
Right.
You know,
Right.
sure, the game was great, but my true calling is this. So you've made peace with that, and your true calling.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel regretful for it?
You know, at 44 now, you always think about what
Yeah,
could have been.
Of course.
But here's the truth. The truth is, and I don't share this with many people, is if I wanted to go back and say, you know, would have, could have, should have, here's what most people don't know, is I was a damn good tennis star. I was ranked #1 in tennis in Whittier, California for 7 years straight. I had a private tennis coach. But here was the thing. Tennis and baseball run during the same season in high school sports. There is no way in hell that I was going to pick tennis over baseball.
Not as cool.
But what I play out all the time is, because my tennis coach would always tell me, he's like, do you understand how good you are?
Yeah.
You could have got a full ride, went so far playing tennis, because baseball's so saturated.
Yeah.
There's so many baseball
Yeah.
players,
Yeah.
so many basketball players. He goes, but tennis, it's like golf. They're a dime a dozen for really good athletes. So I always play out the tennis thing. Man, what happens if I would ever play tennis?
Wimbledon's on right now. I was watching it this morning.
I'm a diehard tennis fan, and now pickleball's just become exploded.
Oh my God.
Exploded.
A friend of mine, I just saw his Facebook page. He opened up like a 10,000 or 20, no, it might be a 20,000 square foot
Pickleball.
facility in Texas.
I mean, it is just exploded. You guys, Gary Vee's part owner of this pickleball league and all these, you know, ex-athletes. But I always play that out. I always go back and say, man, I wonder if I would have went the tennis route, you know, what that would have looked like for me. But, you know, I don't regret it. I don't regret it, because I look at my son today, who is 26 years old, and he's a phenomenal kid. I mean, works for the city of Aliso Viejo, right here down the street from you guys,
Really?
not too far.
Awesome.
He runs their community center there and does bookings.
Nice.
He's in college. He's such a
Nice.
great kid. Loves the Lord, serves at
You
his
see?
church. So when I look at that,
Yeah.
that story
That's a
and that
winner.
narrative
Yeah.
could have been quite different.
Yeah.
But the crazy story that I'll get into with my son is, because he's the oldest, is, I go on this drinking career, turn 21 years old, get my first DUI in Seal Beach, California, a little slap on the hand. Second DUI, drive into Las Vegas, get busted in the Cajon Pass with, 30 pack of beer, weed, and there I am stranded on the side of the freeway. It's like 15 degrees, freezing my ass off, friends in the car, and, get my second DUI there. Third DUI, I get back in Brea. I lived in Brea for 9 years in Orange County, and then I picked up my fourth DUI in 2011, which is the one that changed my life forever. I was leaving downtown Fullerton, heading home to Brea, and I just dropped a friend off, you guys. This is where the story is amazing. I literally dropped a friend off 5 minutes prior to wrapping my car around a telephone pole. And I always think about what that could have been
Yeah, he'd have been done.
if I didn't drop him off.
That would have been a prison sentence.
So I drop him off. I get back on Baston Cherry and State College. Don't know if you guys are familiar. Summit House is right there, one of the famous restaurants. So Baston Cherry State College, brand new car, 5 days ago, Jetta. I'm rolling down a hill, 85 miles an hour, hammered. Went to go change lanes. I didn't see a car, but there was a car there. And by the time I saw the car, I thank God did not hit the car. But because my judgment was so impaired, I yanked back to the right, straight into a brown telephone pole. Splits my car in half. Telephone pole sitting to my right here. And I walk away with a bloody nose just from the impact of the airbag and bruised ribs.
Wow.
And I'll never forget the Fullerton PD who was first on site. I'm sitting on the curb, and he comes up to me and looks me in the face, and he goes, "You should fucking be dead." And I was just like, wow. And the second thing I remember was being in the back of the cop car, and that sight of what my car looked like. If I showed you guys a picture of the car, you would say there's no way. Like
Yeah.
there's nobody lived in that car. It's just absolutely not possible. And here I walked away with a bloody nose and bruised ribs.
Gave me the chills because I have the same.
Yeah, I
have
was
the same-
thinking the
I
same.
have the same story.
Yeah.
And I always say, like Monopoly, right? You don't pass go, you don't collect $200. I knew my ass was not passing go, and I knew I wasn't collecting $200. I knew I was going straight to jail. And at that point, it was just a matter of what was going to happen. Like, I knew I was in serious trouble at that point. Like, there was no thoughts of bailing out. There was no thoughts of anything like that. The only thing I was thinking was, fourth DUI, they had never sent me to rehab, not once. And you think about our judicial system, you think about our system and the way that a lot of people think it's flawed. I think back and say, why didn't they send me to rehab on 2 or 3, right? We waited till 4. And my big thing was 7 court trips, Fullerton Courthouse, North Justice Center, know exactly where it's at. Every time I'd go in there, they would offer me something, and I'd tell the judge, no. 7th court trip, I'll never forget. My girlfriend at the time and my mom, they actually went to that court date because I never wanted any of my family members to see me and, the county jumpsuits and, the way I looked, and I never wanted them to see me. So 7th court trip, I'll never forget. I walk in there, judge goes, "Mr. Mendoza." And I'm like, "Hey, Your Honor, how are you?" He goes, "Man, you've been so damn persistent." And I said, "Okay, I think this is going to go somewhere today, right?" He goes, "You've been so persistent, and I have shot you down and told you no every single time." And he goes, "Today's your lucky day. I'm going to grant you your wish." And I said, "Holy shit, what's this wish? Am I getting out of jail today?" Right? He said, "I'm not going to send you to prison. I'm going to give you a year in county. I've already been there 5 months at this point. Got a good flow, got a good rhythm.
More? Yeah.
What's a couple more, you know?" He goes, "And then I'm going to send you to rehab for a year." I said, "Cool, where do I sign?" I'm doing cartwheels in the box in the court.
Yeah.
And my mom and my girlfriend are like, man, is he getting out? But you have to understand where my mindset was at that point in time is I've already been here 5 to do a few more. Like I'm already rolling. I got momentum in here. I got things going. Things are working on my side. I'm working for the deputies. I got a good gig here. They're taking care of me. I'm getting, free phone calls. And when I share this part of my story, here my heart is it's never to glorify the jail experience. It's always to provide insight and hope and wisdom that the next person doesn't have to go to that depth. They don't have to go through the car accident. They don't have to go through the 4 DUIs. They don't have to go to my bottom, right?
Yeah.
They can make that decision wherever they're at to get clean and sober. My story is my story, but my story is the extreme. My brother got sober. He's been celebrated 6 years this year. No DUIs, nothing traumatic. Almost killed himself twice. Point like 2.9 blood alcohol. Had to rush him to Kaiser Hospital. He just decided one day he was going to wake up and not drink anymore. He didn't have to go through what I went through. So, there I was, sat in jail and did my time. And, I always share this part of the story because for me, what worked for me was my spirituality.
Yeah.
My spirituality is really what propelled me through the jail aspect. Look at me. I'm not made for jail. There's no part of me that's cut out or made for jail. But I was so spiritually sound in there that I knew I was protected. And I knew that there was a better way to life. That this was just a season and a life interruption that was going to pass. So there we go with the mindset again, right? So I had the right mindset sitting in jail where this was a season. We all know summer, spring, winter, fall, they change every single year, right? Mm-hmm. I knew this jail sentence was just a season. And then I knew I would then go from there and go to rehab, and that would be a new season. And then the big season ultimately would be when you're done with rehab because now you're back into society. Right. Now you're back in the real world. People, places, and things don't change. The same bars and the same liquor stores still sell alcohol. And, I can't avoid those things. So, I was fortunate that they had told me, some guys in jail had said, hey, look, there's a loophole in the system. And, we always look for loopholes in systems. So I'll never forget this guy tells me, when they release you, they're not going to pick you up. And I said, well, what do you mean? Because it seemed like they were very adamant that when I got released from jail, the minute they popped that door, like someone was going to be waiting for me to load me in a van and take me to rehab. And they go, nah, man, sometimes the clerk doesn't put the right this or that, and, it doesn't happen. So I'm like, didn't get my hopes too high, but, fast forward to, my release night, early morning, they call my
2 a.m.
Mendoza, roll it up. And, I've been there 9 months, and everybody gets up and is hugging me. And, you got to be quick on your feet to get out that door fast, because they'll close that thing on you quicker than you know. So, I get out and I go through the process. And as you know, it could take a couple hours by the time, you get to close and the fingerprint and pray you have no warrants, right? Before you even get to the next room.
I've seen so many people, even on a year sentence.
For sure.
Get to the end and fucking bam, all of a sudden they have a warrant in a different county or even the same county and they're back up in there. But if the different county, man, you get picked up by, so it happened to me one time. I had a warrant out of San Bernardino.
Here's the thing. And you think out of the release process that would be the first thing they would check. No. That's the second to last thing they check. Like you're already in your clothes. Yeah. You're thinking you're scot-free. And then they're running this background check and it's like, oh, wait a minute. You got a hold in Riverside County. Yeah. And it's like, you ain't going nowhere. So, I know the routine. So I'm sitting there praying like, okay, I don't think I have any warrants. All I have is the DUIs. I should be good. So sure enough, I get to the last window is you get your property back, like your cell phone, your money. So, I get all that back and you hear that door pop and unlock. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, there's someone going to be waiting there for me. That is what the expectation was. There was no one waiting for me.
And you were in Santa Ana?
And I was in Santa Ana. Downtown at 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, you know what? This has to be God. There's no other way that this can happen, because somebody like me, I don't catch those breaks, right? I don't catch those favors. So call my mom and dad and they come and pick me up 4 o'clock in the morning, Santa Ana. I'm panicking because I'm thinking the worst. Like I'm going to get thrown back in because they're not here. So I remember calling, down to Nancy, hey guys, Okay, not a problem. Can you check in on Monday? It's Friday, you guys. It is Friday. So I'm like, holy shit. I have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday free, like with my family, with my kids who I haven't seen in, quite some time, 9 months in jail. So looking back on that, you guys, like that's a big God moment for me because I got to go home for those 3 days. And I felt like, we're talking about mindset again, that prepared me and propelled me. And I felt like God showed me, this is what your life can be like, but you still got to take care of rehab and work on yourself. So I got the family glimpse. I got to see my girlfriend. At that time, I only had 3 kids. Okay. So I had my 26-year-old, my 18-year-old, and my 14-year-old at that point in time. And, my 26-year-old wanted nothing to do with me. The minute I got in trouble and he found out, he wanted nothing to do with me. Took 8 years for him to finally come back around. Wow. You're talking 8 years of sobriety. I'm flowing, and I'm thinking like, man, why is this guy, he don't want to talk to me? Like, I'm good. 8 years until he finally reached back out to me and said, hey, Dad, I want to, meet up with you, talk to you, and see you. 8 years of going through life, knowing that in God's timing, he would restore that relationship. But my thought process always was this. I had 2 other ones depending on me to be dad. So I had to show up every single day for the other 2. And I couldn't let that detour me or sidetrack me, because if I did, that would have just killed me. It would have destroyed me. But I knew in God's time that he would restore that relationship. And here we are 13 years later, where the relationship's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And he is such a great kid. I mean, an amazing, amazing kid where I look and say, God, man, only you could have kept him on the straight and narrow, especially all the time I missed. I mean, you guys, I missed his high school graduation.
Yeah.
I missed some pivotal points in his life. And to be back in today is solely by God's grace and mercy and love for me to restore, that relationship. So it was a journey, and, I go off to rehab and walk a straight line and do everything I had to do and, get done with rehab a year later. And, my parents came to me and, I always had codependent parents that, really never wanted to tell me or stand up to me. And I'll never forget, it was the first time ever that my dad and my mom had ever sat me down and they said, we're so proud of you, but there was a but. And anytime there's a but, it's like, it can't be good. Hey, we're so proud of you. You're sober, but when you get out of rehab, you can't come live with us. I'm like, what? Like, I'm already almost 2 years sober, like on the straight and narrow, and you guys are telling me that I can't come back home and live with you? And they said, absolutely not. That you need to grow up. You need to figure it out. You need to do your thing. We feel that we've done all that we can do for you, but it's now your time to step up and be the man that, God has called you to be. So I had nowhere to go. Thank God, my girlfriend, when I got the accident, by God's grace, she stayed with me through the whole entire process. And that was just a miracle in itself, because I had always said with that is we're 2 puzzle pieces. And if we were meant to connect together, it would happen. And if not, so be it. I jacked her life up. So she kind of wrote it out with me, you guys. And, we ended up moving out. And, this is another big miracle. We just celebrated 10 years of marriage literally last week, you guys.
Nice.
So I sit here today to say, like, God is good. Restoration can happen. Miracles can take place. And if God can save somebody like me, he can save anybody, So 10 years of marriage. We have 2 kids together, 6 and 5, amazing kids. And, where I'm at in life right now is my kids don't ever know their dad to pick up an alcoholic beverage or a drug. And that is an amazing, amazing feeling to know that my kids don't know what that's like. And what I'm able to model for them today and how I've been able to change, what I feel is a generational curse.
Yeah.
I've been able to flip that around, for our family and hopefully provide a better way for, our kids to live and a safe and a sane environment. My wife's been sober longer than me, but she's never had a drinking problem. She was just so disgusted over me when we were dating
Yeah.
that she just hated alcohol because she saw the person
Yeah.
that it turned me into. So she just stopped drinking just because she hated it because of me and what it would do to me. Because she said, you're an amazing guy. But the minute you get that alcohol in your system,
Change.
you just
Yeah.
change. You change. Like, there's different types of drinkers, as you guys know, right? You got the closet drinker. That was my brother who would go home, lock his door, wanted nobody in his apartment, and would just drink himself to get annihilated.
Yeah.
Then you had me. I was like the life of the party. I wanted to know where the after party was, where the after party was. I needed to get to the liquor store by 1:50 to make sure we got in time for last call to get a 30 pack for, home. So I was the life of the party. And she would just always say that, I would see what the alcohol would do to you, and it just disgusted me. So she never wanted to drink again. So she always teases me till
She's
this
got
day.
longer sobriety.
She's got longer sobriety. I said, but you never had a problem. She goes, but you just made me hate it so much that I just never wanted
You were my
to.
problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I see you smiling. I feel like there's some similarities
Oh, yeah.
going on here.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Yeah.
someone's story,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always similarities, right?
right?
I mean, it's just like both sides. But I only can speak for myself, man. But like as soon as meth was my drug of choice, but as soon as I put it in me, it's like I wasn't the same person anymore, and nobody wanted to be around me. And the fear that, like, when I was thinking about when you were saying some of that stuff, I'm like, my wife must be so disgusted. Not that she ever used drugs, but the thought of meth makes her sick to her stomach because she gets so scared of the person that I turn into, and
I mean, even till this day, you guys, like, I could be in bars. I can be where there's drugs, alcohol. That stuff doesn't bother me, doesn't faze me.
Yeah.
I believe, and I'm only speaking for myself because I know many people will watch this. I believe that God has taken away the obsession of alcohol in my life.
Wow.
yeah,
Like, to sit here and say, on a hot summer day where I live, it's 94 today. Does a cold one sound kind of good? I'm not going to sit here and bullshit and say that it doesn't, but I also know where that will take me to.
Yeah.
And people think of fear, right? When you hear that 4-letter word, you think of negative. And what I've done is I've taken that 4-letter word and I've turned it into a positive, because there is a such thing as healthy fear. So what is my healthy fear? My healthy fear is I don't got to wake up hungover ever again. I don't got to wake up looking for my cell phone or my wallet. I don't got to worry about who I screwed over the night before. And I got an amazing wife and amazing kids.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's a healthy fear. But let's take it a step further. And some people will challenge me on this and say, well, this is blackmail. And I said, well, I don't believe it's blackmail. I believe it's my wife having boundaries and standing up for herself, because she has made it very known to me. When I got sober and we got back together, she says, if you choose to drink again,
I'm going.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
It's a non-negotiable. So if that expectation is created, now it's up to me.
Yeah.
I would challenge anybody that she set a healthy boundary.
I mean,
That's what a healthy person does.
Yeah.
Amen. And I think we're living in a world, in a society right now where women aren't creating these healthy boundaries, and people will say, well, don't you call that blackmail? I'm like, she's not blackmailing me, because I have a choice every morning what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I have a choice. Nobody makes me drink. I choose to drink. So when she said, you drink again, I'm done. Guys, for me, that is a healthy fear as a male, because I know I will lose everything that I have if I choose to drink.
Yeah.
So every day I look at my wife and I look at my kids, and it's never like have I gone through some shitty times? Absolutely. Oh, the IRS $90,000 because of my drinking career, dealing with the wreckage of my past, all the people I've hurt and, done wrong over the years. I mean, guys, just because you become sober, it's not like we're Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz and we click our heels and everything's gone. No, you actually got to deal with the wreckage of your past.
Yeah. But you have God in your life now.
Right.
You have a lot of God. That makes a huge difference.
Huge difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah, because I know, and this is not a cocky thing. This is a confident thing in my faith. Is I know that my wife and I can get through any obstacle that is thrown our way.
100%.
Because if I was able to get through 4 DUIs, and when I say this, this is not for any of you guys to sit here and paint this picture in your head. But guys, I was stripped down naked in a jail cell.
Yeah.
Naked. Physically naked in a jail cell. I know what that feeling is like. So what you see today from me and what I see on you guys is the humility of remembering that pain, but how I've persevered. It was a moment in a season of pain, but I've persevered. And if I can get through that pain, my wife and I have this pact that we can get through anything.
Yeah, I mean, I have that pact with myself that there's no pain that I haven't already endured that I can't walk through. Right. Sober. And I say this on the podcast all the time is that, like, you know, it is harder to sit in pain than it is to walk through pain. People don't realize that. The most painful part about pain is sitting in it.
Right.
Is staying in the pain and not doing anything about it. You know, or trying to mask it with a substance. Mm-hmm. It's just that doesn't work. I mean, for me, I could be in pain right now, right? And then if my solution to that pain was to stick a needle back in my arm, I will make that pain 100 times worse,
right?
In a matter of days.
And for everybody around you, not just you,
not just me.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the most painful part of pain to me. Is the pain that I cause other people.
Yeah.
Because you don't think about that when you're wrapped up in the addiction or the abuse, right?
Yeah.
Whatever your drug of choice is we don't think of, and here I am teaching my kids at 18 and 14. So my 18-year-old just graduated high school, Ontario Christian. My son just promoted from 8th grade, plays varsity basketball as a freshman at Southlands Christian. So I have both my kids in Christian schools, but it's like I'm teaching them these same things, but they don't struggle with any addiction. Yeah. It's your choices not only affect you, they affect everybody around you.
Are you in your kids' schools in Orange County?
Neither of them are in Orange County. No.
Okay. My son plays at Capital Valley Christian.
What did I just tell you right now a couple minutes ago? So I'm gonna trip you out right now, Chad.
There we go.
So I coach varsity baseball 9 years. Capital Valley Christian is in our league.
Yeah.
So I play Capital Valley Christian, one exit, get off on Oso.
That's right here.
Their home field is the
Their home field.
Their home field is that park. I forget the park, but we played against Capital Valley Christian for the past 8 years that I've been there. I know the head coach there, varsity baseball coach, very well there. So I know all about Capital Valley Christian.
Yeah, that's my son's school. He's a senior.
Small school, very nice school. We play them in volleyball. We play them in baseball. We play them in basketball. So they're in. We compete with them.
What school? I mean, you could tell me off air if you.
Southlands Christian. We're in Roland Heights, but all the schools that are in our league, because we're a small Christian school, all of the schools that are in our league are in South County. So we have Sage Hill, which is right here in Newport, where Kobe's kids went. So we got Sage Hill. We got St. Margaret's, which is always great in sports.
We played Sage Hill all the time in volleyball. Kobe would be. We have the crappiest basketball court and volleyball court.
Wow.
And Kobe would come. We don't even have our bleachers are three tier. 1, 2, 3. Kobe would be sitting on the top. His feet would be down at the bottom. Wow. Watching Natalia play volleyball against our girls' volleyball team.
So one of the greatest memories I have, because I know we're Kobe Bryant fans, is in the playoffs. Natalia's the oldest one, right?
Yeah.
So she was playing against Ontario Christian, and that's the school that my daughter goes to. And they had got word that Kobe may be there for that game, because Kobe never really announces that he's going to be there. Because if so, then the school's going to go tell everybody. And so we knew that he was going to be there because my ex actually works on staff there. So Kobe's people had already reached out and said, hey, he's going to be rolling in. He's going to have 6 black Suburbans. They want to park in the back. He's rolling with the posse. So we show up to the game, and sure enough, there's Kobe. And crazy thing, they closed off one whole section of the bleachers just for him to sit. And I took my 14-year-old now. He was probably 10 at the time. And for him, you guys, to see Kobe sitting across the bleachers was just like a dream come true.
Same with my son. My son's like at school, and he's like texting me. He's like, Dad, Kobe Bryant's here right now.
Wow.
And Kobe was really cool about like the, it didn't get crazy over here at my son's school. But he stayed after and took pictures with everybody.
Man, he stayed till the very end, but we found out later he stood to the very end because he didn't want to deal with everybody outside. Because Ontario Christian is a large school.
Yeah.
They're one of the larger Christian schools, Division I, girls volleyball, they're phenomenal. And their gym is brand new, just got done a couple years ago, and this thing was packed out. So he knew that if he tried to get out immediately, it would have been a little tough. So he stayed till the very end, and I actually have a picture on my phone with him and my daughter, which was super cool. So one of the things I always look back on and say that we got to see Kobe in person. And you know what the cool thing is about that is I get to enjoy those moments today, and being sober. And we always say these three things now is we get the opportunity to be fully present, fully feeling, and fully alive. So right now, the three of us, we're fully present. We're locked into this podcast. We're fully present. We're fully feeling, and we're fully alive, radiating. So I get the chance today to experience these things in life and be fully present, fully feeling, and fully alive, and not have to worry about putting something in my system or my body just to deal with anything I'm going through to make me feel better for a short period of time.
I love that too, because like I'm, but prior to doing this podcast, I'm like introverted by nature. And then I come on this podcast and like you said, I'm locked in.
I could tell,
with these headphones and the microphone, like I even half the time forget he's over there. Every once in a while I'll see him move.
I know. I looked over there a couple seconds ago. I'm like, is he sleeping?
He might be. When those are on, you're sleeping. All right.
The stun of shades, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I love it. But the funny thing is I have to go back and watch these podcasts because I'm so locked into the moment. Yeah.
Right.
As soon as we leave, I don't remember what happened.
Wow.
And then I go back and I listen to it and I'm like, wow, that was a really
good.
I mean, I know when I get out of a podcast, I've maybe walked out of 2 podcasts and I was like, that sucked. Like 2 out of like 70 that we've done.
Hopefully I don't make it 3.
No, this is great.
I walk out and I'm like, that was a really good podcast. Mm-hmm. And then I go back and I listen to it and I was like, wow. And listening to yourself is weird, but to listen to yourself and go, that's fucking really good.
Right.
That makes me feel good about myself. I do. I'll be on the treadmill at the gym. That's when I listen to the podcast every morning, the ones that we do. And I really, really actually enjoy listening to this podcast, which is like weird because it's not like I like listening to myself. I just like listening to, there's sometimes I'm like, wow, Chad, you say some pretty fucking cool shit.
Right. I mean,
you got to.
I do the same thing. We have a church in Yorba Linda, California. 7 years old. I'm a pastor there at the church. I run our family department, and I'm on stage every weekend. And I still, you guys, go to my wife every Sunday and say, "How did I do?"
Right.
How did I do? And it's never because my mindset is, and this is for recovery as well. My mindset is never, oh my gosh, I want to affect the masses. I'm always about the one. I'm about the one.
Yeah.
If this podcast right here, this conversation can change one person's life, I feel like our job has been done.
Yep.
So I'm always about the one. If there's one person struggling, one person hurting, if there's a son, a daughter, because one thing I've learned in my journey is there's always a backstory. And until you find out somebody's backstory, you can't judge them. Because if you just look at me, right? Most people look at me and they see, oh, you're put together and you work with Tim Story and you've been with him 13 years and he travels the world and has 2 million followers on social media and friends with Oprah and Steve Harvey. They just see the put together Joseph.
No one would imagine 4 DUIs. I mean, it's a lot, man. And not in jail. That's dancing through the raindrops.
When you get to the backstory is when things get interesting. So when I meet people, never judge them because I know there's a backstory. Yeah. And that backstory is probably going to be deep and probably even deeper than mine.
Well, one of the things that I love too is that's where a lot of people they sit down here. I guess maybe they sit up here. They sit in the stands and they judge people that are playing the game.
Right.
And I have to tell you, the people that are playing the game have walked through some pain.
Right.
They've walked through some stuff in life. Like I'm not up here sitting. I'm not sitting in this life that I'm sitting in
that you made for yourself.
It's all because of my pain.
Right. There was a price to pay.
Yeah.
For the life that we live.
Mine was that same a car accident. I was on the 10 freeway in Pomona, had been high on meth for like, I don't know, 7 days straight, not sleeping. And I was going to pick up from these Chicano gang members up in La Puente, and I fell asleep behind the wheel.
Wow.
And my car spun out. So I just clipped the guy in front of me. He didn't even stop. He didn't know I clipped him. And it sent my car on a spin. And I woke up as soon as I clipped the car, and I was spinning, and I hit the curb, and I just end over end. Wow. My car, it was a 1999 Mitsubishi Galant.
I remember those.
You remember those? They kind of looked like, I called it a Mitsubeamer because it looked like a BMW, but it was way cheaper.
I don't believe in coincidences, but as you say, Pomona, I live in Chino Hills, but I'm on the Chino Hills Pomona side.
Yeah.
So when you said Pomona, I'm like 2 minutes away. I'm in P-Town right there. So
my car was a ball of metal, a ball of metal. I don't even think I had my seatbelt on.
And you walked away.
Walked away. I mean, I was bleeding everywhere, and I, jumped out a window.
Did you run?
I ran up the hill, and a friend of mine we were taking 2 cars because we were going to pick up, and he was like screaming, "Yeah!" And I'm running up the hill and blood dripping everywhere, and had drugs and needles in my pocket, and he grabbed them out of my pocket, and then next thing I know, I hear an ambulance and I hear sirens, and I woke up in the hospital. Man. But I mean, I literally walked away.
Right.
Walked away. And that really is the pinnacle point. 5 days after that, my oldest daughter was born, who's 22 years old now, 23. She'll be 23 in December. 5 days after that, my oldest daughter was born. I was sitting in that same place in La Puente with these Chicano gang members. 5 days after my accident, I smoked some pot and started to get paranoid because I started looking around the room. I was like, I'm sitting in a room with stone cold killers, and that's not me.
Right.
So I picked up my little Motorola flip phone, called my mom.
Flip phone.
Yeah, the flip phone. My mom was crying, and I was like, "Why are you crying?" She's like, "You just had a little baby girl."
Wow.
And I always want to start to cry because that baby girl changed my life. And that's the same baby girl that found her
husband, you said, or fiance.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dead 9 months ago. And the reason why this podcast exists. So all of that stuff to me it's just God,
right.
And my journey hasn't been it hasn't been perfect. I got time, and I went back out, and I struggled, and I owned treatment centers and fell in the public eye, and a lot of embarrassing stuff happened along the way. But I never gave up, and I always and I love what you say, like that. I persevered through all the pain. There was a lot of pain from my childhood that I never dealt with, and I just kept it stuffed, and then all of a sudden that stuff started to surface. And now that I've walked through all that pain, I'm like, man, I can walk through pain. Like, I don't have to get loaded anymore. I'm like you. I can be in a bar. I can go to Vegas. I can go anywhere. I've been in nightclubs, dancing with my wife. I've done a grip of fun stuff.
Probably don't dance as good, right?
No, I mean, I just do like the gangsters.
I'm so awkward at weddings.
A little.
That liquid courage you get right when you're on the dance floor. And I'll never forget the first time. I'm like, man, I really can't dance.
No.
I suck.
Yeah.
And here I thought I was good, and my wife's like, you're terrible, babe. You have zero rhythm. I'm like, thanks. Man.
But no, when you're at a club, I mean, nobody cares because they're all drunk anyways.
Exactly.
And they probably they're just thinking about how good they think they're dancing.
Exactly.
Me and my buddies in like high school, we were because I'm that age of Vanilla Ice.
Okay.
We would all do the Vanilla Ice dance.
Baby.
And
we jump.
Yeah, that guy. Right. What was that band called? Jump Around.
Jump around.
Jump up and get down.
That's House
the two
of
brothers.
House of Pain.
House of Pain.
House of Pain.
Good stuff, man.
Well, it's where I'm at today, you guys, and I'm just about giving back. I feel like this life that I've been given and this second chance and second run at things, I'm just here to be a servant leader, and however I can serve and give back. And help people that don't have to go through what I went through, to find the freedom and the peace, which is the big thing to me. The freedom and the peace that I operate in today is, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for, is to give back and to help wherever I can. And, there's not a week that goes by where someone's not calling me or my boss and our son or our daughter, someone's struggling, someone's mental health, and we're finding facilities and finding places and, being there to mentor them. There's not a week that goes by where that's not coming across, our plate. And,
your guy does a lot for the community.
Does a lot for the community.
He's very well known and loved by many.
Lost his brother to alcoholism.
Yeah.
That's how we met.
Yeah.
So the story between Tim and I is,
Damn.
he loses his brother to addiction, and then he sees my testimony in a church.
Wow.
And he's like, wait a minute, where's this guy?
Wow.
So after church, he goes, was that you? And I said, yeah. He goes, come to the back. I want to talk to you. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? I don't know who Tim's story is. I just came out of jail and rehab. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can hear my mom and my dad and my girlfriend, my wife now, saying, oh my gosh, Tim wants to talk to Joseph. And I'm like, well, who the hell is Tim? So he comes to the back and he's like, dude, you're my little brother who made it. I'm like, what does this mean?
Wow.
And then he kind of got a little emotional. And I was like, what the hell? He goes, my brother died of alcoholism, but you made it. And I was like, this is deep. So here's the backstory again, right?
Damn.
And he goes, I don't know, but God's telling me that I need to keep you close to me. Fast forward 13 years later.
Wow.
I've been with him 12 years, and it's
Good
been
for you.
But see, most people don't know that story. They just see me as like his right-hand guy.
Yeah.
They just see a shiny object, and you work with Tim and you guys go and help all kinds of people.
Good for you.
They don't know the backstory is the pain brought us together.
Yeah.
It was the pain.
Yeah.
And that's what I love all of that, because at the end of the day, the whole point of the Hopeaholics is to bring everybody together.
Yeah.
So much stuff that you've said has just resonated with me. Yeah.
Yes.
Because it all, I'm trying to bring the country back together based on our pain. I mean, we can't continue to let the media just destroy us like this. We're being destroyed.
I mean,
So
big time. You guys, I mean, what we're seeing is nobody these days is connecting with stories of our kids went to Harvard together,
Right.
or we bought the winning lottery ticket.
No, you know
everyone
what people are
today,
connecting with? Oh, go ahead.
everyone today is connecting through damn pain
Yeah.
because they're hurting.
Do you know how many people are dying from fentanyl every day?
I mean, I don't even want to know because it's going to be shocking and staggering.
It's 300.
I mean, ridiculous,
Yeah.
It's 300 people.
ridiculous.
I mean, we lose people, and it sucks because I work, I work in drug and alcohol treatment. That is my primary business. And I've been doing it for a total of 22 years. The last 4 years, more people have died that I have known that are alumni. More people have died in those 4 years than the whole entire 18 before.
Wow.
Combined. And it's just like, and it's not slowing down. So I always like to say on every podcast that 300 people is a very large airplane crashing every single day.
Right.
And then I also like to say, if an airplane crashed 3 days in a row, we would ground all flights.
Mm-hmm.
And make changes.
What are we doing for the people? Because this isn't drug addicts dying. This is, we had a lady on here the other day, 14-year-old son died from a pressed Percocet fentanyl.
Wow.
My mom called me last night. Our friend, a 15-year-old girl, smoked some weed. She bought off the street, died in Canton, Winnipeg.
And it's up there now.
Yeah, from the fentanyl in the marijuana. So it's like now your kid comes to you saying, hey, Dad, I want to smoke some weed. You're like, well, we don't really do that stuff. And they go out on the street and buy it at 15. They fucking die.
Right.
So now the parents are going through this thing. We're like, well, damn, I said no to the weed, but my kid's dead.
The times have just changed from
It's a nightmare.
when I was in high school. I mean, I tell people, like, when I went to rehab, everything was heroin.
Yeah, it was heroin.
But when I was in high school, I'm like, where in the hell was heroin? I never even heard about it. I was
Ever.
never even exposed to it. In high school, it was beer
And weed.
and weed.
Yeah.
Well, see, because now
And bad
the
weed.
fentanyl is pills. So it's not as scary. I mean, if you lived in California, black tar heroin is scary.
Right.
You gotta melt that stuff down in a spoon, and you just look like a drug addict. But like when we were in high school, it wasn't really a weird thing to go to a rave and take an ecstasy pill.
Right.
But you can't do that anymore because an ecstasy pill contains fentanyl, or might just be all fentanyl. It might not even be real.
Yeah.
And so that's my bigger point. Like, you know, a lot of times, because with the addicts, we still have that stigma, and which that's why we started this Recover Out Loud movement, because we want to get rid of the stigma of you know, addiction, mental health issues. But it's not them that are dying.
Right.
It's people's children.
People's children. Yep.
It's my high school. It's my kids.
1-time users, 2-time users, and 10-time. Even the 10-time user, even a holiday guy, a weekend guy.
That's why, you know, every time we see somebody who's struggling, you don't approach them as the person who is lost. It's like, that's somebody's son.
Yeah.
That's somebody's daughter. And that's how we always approach things when it comes to mental health and addiction, is that's somebody's son or daughter, man.
It is.
You know, that's somebody's son, somebody's daughter,
Yeah.
somebody's mom, somebody's dad.
grandma.
And when you look at it from that perspective, it really changes your mind, just to not see somebody who's lost, or there's no hope, or they can't be restored, because
Everybody can be restored.
everybody.
Even the one, you know, and there's a lot of bad stuff about, you know, the homeless crisis, but like, they can be restored. There's ways to restore the people back to sanity, and not leave them out on the streets. And I don't know what the solutions to those are. That becomes a bigger conversation, which is not for the podcast. But at the end of the day, the podcast is about you know, bringing everybody together in more of like a circle, like how, you know, the program does it. We don't want people standing behind us. We want people standing beside us. You know, you get 40, 50 million people standing behind you. We can force change.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate you guys. I love the mission, the vision, your guys' hearts for, you know, helping to change people's lives, because at the end of the day, I feel like that's what God has me doing. I feel like that's my calling.
Yeah.
Right. That's my purpose, and my mission is just to really give back what has been given to me freely.
Yeah.
You know, you can say, sure, well, you paid to go to rehab, but I mean, I'm here.
Yeah.
So there's no price tag you can put on life.
No.
You know, what I can do to give back and what I can do to help. And, you know, Tim and I were involved with so many rehabs. We're involved with so many mental facilities, right, with mental health and challenges, and especially like in the gaming community right now, we're doing big work with gamers, because these gamers struggle with mental health. You know, they sit in their damn rooms all day long, and it's pitch black, and they play video games, you know, morning, noon, and night. They don't know what a social life's like.
Right.
You know, Tim's on the board for ARC, which is, you know, prison reform, for, you know, stopping the recidivism rate of people who come out of prison. Why do they end up back in prison?
Oh, I know why.
Exactly.
Because there's not, they just release them to the streets with $200, and then they take them to a bus stop where there's drugs being sold.
And then people wonder why they're back in jail, and it's like, because they're releasing them with no plan. There's no plan of action in place.
Yeah.
There's nothing. They're going back to the same environment, to the same people, places, and things.
There's nothing in there. What was that?
You got an important email.
It's like, I never heard that before. I've never heard that before.
Please fasten your seatbelts. Your flight will take off shortly.
Anyways, that's. I mean, this was a great
podcast.
Yeah.
I want to say one more thing. We want to be involved with you and Tim somehow.
Absolutely.
Chad gives away scholarships every 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. It's $30,000 to come to this facility.
Wow.
We would love to give away a scholarship as soon as. Whenever.
It's $30,000 or insurance.
Yeah, or insurance.
Yeah.
So through you or through Tim, if you want to talk to Tim, and if we can somehow get together, and every 90 days, every 120 days, we give away a $30,000 scholarship through Tim's foundation or something, or work something out like that. We'd love to give back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love for you guys to have him on the show.
That would be great.
I think you guys having him on the show, or you guys come to him. I mean, he's in Orange County, so I don't want to give the exact location away. But he's close by. He's close enough.
We're in 100%.
Yeah. Anything, you know, anything we can do, anything I can do to, you know, give back, help out. I mean, I mean, really,
and we'd love to be
we
involved
have-
with these boards that he's on with the homeless or with the jails, the prison system, and that we would love because he'd love to be. We'd love to be involved
Yeah.
with all this kind of
There's
stuff.
so
and give our
much
time.
solution
Yeah,
to
man.
those are easy
Yeah.
fixes. You know what's hard about those? Those the prison unions are so
Oh, yeah.
powerful. You know, but there's a way. I mean, we can get people out of prison and stop going back.
I mean,
I know I got tons of them that work here for me. A felony friendly employer.
I tell you right now, ARC has gotten a lot of people out of prison.
Yeah.
You know, with wrongful sentences and
Yeah.
you name it.
Well,
but
and we're big on veterans here too. And there's a lawyer. We had a lawyer on who could get veterans out of jail too if they've had DUIs or something like that. They can address it towards PTSD and trauma, and that's the
And
reason.
get their records
Expunged.
expunged.
man,
yeah.
where were these people when I wanted to
This
get out
is-
of
yeah,
jail?
right.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
I always say, where
I
was
always
this
say-
when I wanted to
Look,
get out?
I say I always say at the end of the day, man, thank God for Nancy Clark because this lady pulled a miracle out of her hat and like
Yeah.
you know
She's still going strong.
she is.
Yeah.
I never forget where I
she
come
texts
from.
me every once in a while and says, "Hey, yeah, me either, man."
Never forget where I come from. And
Like I told you, I was at a posh rehab, nice one out here in
Right.
South County, loving life, sitting there with a little ocean view from my room.
then you end up at Nancy Clark.
And not to say Nancy's is bad. It was just it was great actually.
I've seen others, so it's not bad. I've seen others.
Yeah.
So.
I'll tell you what though, she's like her rule is, man, when you get your apartment, it's your job to clean it. You're
Right.
not going into a like whoever left it, they left it a mess. Your job to clean it up. And I had to clean 2 of them.
Man.
But you know, at the end of the day, I'm you know, and I went back and told my judge, I was like, I had to go back like 18 months later, and he was like, I didn't think you were gonna make it.
Was that a great feeling? Because I'll never forget when I had to go back in after completion.
Yeah.
Right? Because, you know, the judges think this guy ain't going to make it.
fuck
Hey,
no.
this guy, 4 DUIs, he ain't going to make it. And I'll never forget walking back in that courtroom. My head was held so high. I had so much confidence
Right.
and sweat. And he was just like, you don't really hear a judge say that they're proud of you.
Yeah.
But to hear a judge say, like, I'm proud of you.
Good for you.
This guy told the whole courtroom that he was proud. He was like,
Wow.
this guy is a miracle.
Mm.
He's like, and because they gave me, my terms were so hardcore that one little mess up and
Wow.
I was gone. And he was not having it. He had already sentenced me to state prison,
Right.
you know? So he was just waiting. Put an ankle monitor on me. I remember one night I was on my way home from my house, and the cops in this area saw my car driving. They pulled me over, pulled me out of my car, and were like, "Hey, what are you doing right now?" And I was like, "I'm trying to get back to where I'm going. Can you please let me go? Let me go because I got to be back. If I'm not back at that house by 11
Right.
p.m., I'm going to prison." And
You
they
get a violation.
yep.
What'd they say?
I mean, they messed with me for a little bit, but said they were happy that I was doing well. And
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice.
So I made it
Yeah,
with 10
man.
minutes to spare. Nancy
Nice.
Clark was no joke.
No joke.
Anyways, man, I appreciate you coming
Yeah,
down. It was
great
an
day.
amazing story.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
feel
know,
pumped.
our you know, I always say these 4 things, and you know, some you've heard and maybe some you haven't, is, you know, our mess becomes our message, our test becomes our testimony. I said the pain, the perseverance, and then our brokenness becomes our blessing.
Yeah.
That's really how I operate, you guys.
And God's in all of that.
Absolutely.
All of it.
All of
At the
it.
forefront.
Yeah.
You
the
can't get
forefront.
through your mess to
can't.
have a message if you don't have God.
You can't.
Can't.
You can't.
Because people will know if you're real or you're fake.
It's true.
They see right
It's
through it.
true.
And I think you guys will agree with me. You can't,
Yeah.
you can't bullshit a bullshitter.
Can't
No.
bullshit a bullshitter.
You
can't.
bullshit a bullshitter.
Thanks, man. Thanks for
Appreciate
coming
you
in.
guys. Absolutely.
Just a quick picture and then a wall signature.